Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here. So Andrea is a character that was in the first 3 seasons of the Walking Dead TV show. She was portrayed by the actress Laurie Holden. In the comics, Andrea was quite different. She lived much longer than she lived in the show. In the comics, if the show had followed the comics and they had followed Andrea's lifespan, Andrea would have probably lived to season 10 or season 11. But instead, she died at the end of season 3 because of Glenn Mazzara, the writer of season 3. I think he was the main writer. He wanted to end season 3 with a bang, so he decided to get rid of this very huge comic character that had a lot of story left to do, that was played by a good actress. And apparently Merle, Milton, T-Dog, Lori, Axel, Oscar, that wasn't enough. You had to get rid of Andrea too. Yeah, needless to say, it was kind of a mistake. Although her character was heavily criticized in season 3, but again, that is another thing that you could fault Glenn Mazzara for, because he was the one writing her character. But in the comics, Andrea was one of the longest living characters in the whole story. Up to date, she's still one of the longest lasting characters, even though she's dead now. The only characters that have lasted longer than her, that have a bigger lifespan than her, are Rick, Carl, and Sophia. Dwight was getting there, but Robert Kirkman decided to be a bitch and kill him off for stupid reasons. But yeah, basically, when Andrea died at the end of season 3, there was a lot of lost potential. Now, I know that some people didn't like her, and some people really didn't like her in season 3. But the thing is, Laurie Holden is a really good actress. At first, when I first watched The Walking Dead back in 2012, they were on season 3. Me and my mom, we watched the first 2 seasons on Netflix, I believe. I didn't like her that much, but on a second rewatch of the first 2 seasons, I really liked her. I liked her sort of dry wit and her sarcasm, and how she was kind of down to earth. And I was sympathetic to her story about how right when she was just starting to spend time with her little sister died, and then she wanted to kill herself, and then Dale stopped her and prevented her from being able to. And then in season 2, she's one of the smarter characters in season 2. And she doesn't really have anyone that really cares about her that much or looks out for her other than Dale. I mean, pretty much no one else cares that much about her. She even tells Shane that they should both just go off on their own and just be alone together, because they're the odd ones out. They're the ones that no one else likes. And I mean, in retrospect, that might have been a good thing. I mean, with Shane, because he was trying to kill Rick over and over, and he probably was just better off being alone. And Andrea, I mean, all the shit that happened to her in season 3, that could have been avoided if she and Shane had gone off alone. And Andrea was right about a lot of things. If you rewatch season 2 and you pay attention to Andrea's character, she is one of the smartest characters in that season. A lot of the things she says are right. She's the one that pretty much saves Beth Green. You know, Beth Green was wanting to commit suicide, and Andrea was the one that actually enabled her to. She enabled her to commit suicide. She was like, "Look, I'll let you commit suicide," but she also gives Beth some advice and offers sort of some information on how to live in this new world. And then Beth chooses to live, and Andrea's like, she chose to live, she chose to be strong. And of course, Maggie's pissed off at her, but in retrospect, I think Andrea helped Beth, because Beth got a lot stronger after season 2. In season 2, she was wanting to kill herself, and then Andrea kind of made her stronger. And Andrea was kind of a realist, and she was a fairly tough survivor. And I think she had a good sense of humor, and I like the character, and I like the actress. In season 3, they just really fucked up her writing. I don't know what Glenn Mazzara was thinking when he decided to just have her be this retard that gets brainwashed by the governor. I mean, I get that, you can have romantic feelings for someone, and sometimes they lie to you about things, and they're covering up the fact that they're not that great of a person, and maybe you don't necessarily notice that, or you don't necessarily see that. Maybe there's a part of you that doesn't want to see that, but there's no excuse for how they handled Andrea in Season 3. There's no excuse for how stupid Andrea was in Season 3. There were so many warning signs with the governor. Now, I like the idea of Andrea, I like what they did with her in the first few episodes. In the very beginning of Season 3, I like what they did with her. I liked her bond with Michonne. I like the chemistry between the two of them. I like the idea of her coming to Woodbury and almost sort of being hypnotized after spending 8 months out in the cold with Michonne, getting sick, almost dying. And now she's at this place that makes you feel like you're back in the world before the apocalypse again. That's what Woodbury was. That's what Woodbury offered to people. It offered a chance for you to feel like you were back in the old world, because it was just this big little group of buildings, and there's a lot of normal people, and everyone was nice, and Woodbury was a pretty cool place, other than the fact that their leader was secretly a psychopath. If they had just gotten rid of the governor, they might have been okay. But I like the idea of Andrea. I mean, I liked her in the first couple of episodes, and I like the idea of her meeting the governor and her having feelings for him, and her sort of having this weakness, and her not really wanting to leave and not really wanting to face the fact that the governor is not what he says he is, and he's a really bad person that needs to be killed immediately, which is, what he was. But she should have snapped out of it sooner. She should have snapped out of it after a couple of episodes. If you wanted to have Andrea sort of get hypnotized by the governor for a couple of episodes, that could have worked. I mean, characters have to have flaws, but you just can't have her have this ridiculously stupid ignorance of all the millions of bad things that the governor did. You can't just have her be in this super denial, because that's not Andrea in the first 2 seasons. That was out of character. That's not who she was. She was realistic. She was sarcastic. She wouldn't want to be with this psychopath that was trying to kill her friends, trying to kill everyone, trying to kill people for no reason, and look the other way. That's not who Andrea was. I don't know if she was looking the other way, or if she was really just so goddamn stupid that she didn't see all the warning signs, because she didn't go against the governor until Season 3, episode 14. I'm not kidding. They took this character that was consistently written as this sort of sarcastic, realistic survivor, and they turned her into this brainless, ignorant idiot that was just completely out of character and completely out of left field. I don't understand it. It was just really poor writing, and I feel bad for the actress. It's very important to remember that actors don't have a lot of control of their writing. You have to be like Brad Pitt or something, and even then, you pretty much have to read your lines. I mean, you can't refuse to read your lines. When you're an actor, you sign contracts and stuff. You can't just say, I'm not going to read these lines. I mean, you can't back out of something that's halfway done. You have to finish it. You have to read your lines. That's your job. You have to. It's a legal thing. You have to read your lines. It doesn't matter how bad they are. And I hate it when actors are blamed for the writing of their characters. If you want to blame them for their performances being weak or their acting being weak, that's different. But the writing or the dialogue is not their fault, because they're not in control of that. So I feel a great deal of sympathy for Laurie Holden for having to deliver all those shitty lines and just being so ignorant about the governor. It just didn't make any sense for her character for it to last so long. I mean, she pretty much spent most of the season looking the other way on all the crap that the governor was doing. Not only did the governor sexually assault Maggie, but Rick's group told her, someone told her off screen that the governor had sexually assaulted Maggie. I remember, I rewatched that episode a couple of months ago. It's the episode where Rick and the governor have this negotiation meeting where they try to have some terms so that they can live in peace. And Andrea talks to Herschel, and Andrea says, "Is it true what they say about what he did to Maggie?" And Herschel says, "Yes, he's a sick man." 5 minutes later, she's just like, "Oh, la, 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 I'm going back to Woodbury, the governor, you're still awesome, la, 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 la." Meanwhile, the governor is plotting to kill Rick, to kill Daryl, kill Merle, kill everyone. And Andrea's just like, la, 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 after finding out that he had sexually assaulted Maggie. Like, what the hell? It doesn't make any damn sense. It's just bad writing. It's a very obvious case of bad writing, and it's pretty obvious why Glenn Mazzara had nothing to do with season 4. They got rid of him after that. I think killing off Andrea was the final nail in the coffin. As for should she have lived longer? Well, she should have lived longer. She should have lived longer. Laurie Holden, she deserved it. I mean, she read the comics. She read the comics. She knew how much of a big part Andrea had. I would have been hot. I would have been like super pissed off if they did that to me. I don't know if I could have. I like to be polite. You know, if I ever become an actor or something, or a celebrity or something, if people that I work with in projects, they do things I don't like, I like to be polite and sort of keep it to myself. And if I get killed off on something, I'd like to be polite and say, it's cool, you know. But with this, I don't know. That's pushing it. If I was her, I don't know if I would have been able to handle it with class like she did. And she handled it with class. I mean, I think she mentioned that she was supposed to survive season 3. She was supposed to survive season 3. She was supposed to like rescue Woodbury and get on a horse and rescue everyone. That's what she said. And she said that she read the comics and she was excited for her story, and killing her off was a last minute decision. And I feel really bad for her. She didn't even, like, really get angry in the public or anything. She handled it with class. And that just goes on further to prove that she had nothing to do with all the shittiness involved with Andrea, because I liked Andrea in the first 2 seasons. I did. They just turned her into a brainless pile of garbage in season 3. And that's the writing, not the character. So, yeah, I wish that she lived longer. I wish that she got her comic storyline. I mean, Rick and Michonne are great, so that makes it a little more difficult to want Andrea to have stayed on the show all this time. I do like the Rick Michonne romance, and I think if they kept Andrea alive, they would have had the Rick Andrea romance. But yeah, I mean, I do kind of wish that she got to live longer, at least live longer. I mean, if you're going to have this character that lasts 166 issues of the comics, you shouldn't kill them off in the show where it's at like issue 40. That's just a massive, massive slap in the face to the actress, who probably made no plans for other projects because she thought she wasn't going anywhere, and I don't blame her. But on the other hand, with her death, I mean, with season 3, there was no going back. Her writing was so terrible in season 3. In a way, it almost kind of seemed like what's done is done. Like, she shouldn't keep living. You know, it's the equivalent of this dog that you had spent a couple of years with, and now it had rabies, and now it was just mindless and out of control. And you want to believe that it can somehow be salvaged, but maybe killing Andrea at the end of season 3 had a silver lining to it, because it was kind of like putting her out of her misery. I don't know. I kind of feel like in a way, maybe the damage was done. Although no matter what, I am very sympathetic to Laurie Holden, and if they had chosen to keep her alive and fixed her writing in season 4, I mean, it might have been a little jarring that she was this, you know, smart, sarcastic survivor. She spent pretty much 16 episodes of season 3 being an idiot and being out of character, and then season 4 she goes back to her old self. That might have been a little jarring. But I mean, I wouldn't have been too against it if they had fixed her writing in season 4. at least, maybe tried to redeem it, and tried to redeem the character to the fans and get the character back on track. But all the shit they did with her in season 3 was just so bad. I don't know if it's hard to imagine it being salvaged, and it's hard to imagine what The Walking Dead would be like if Andrea had stayed on the show, because so much would have been different. They're on season 9 right now. So much would have been different if they had kept Andrea on the show. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn between whether or not I would have wanted her to live longer. I would have wanted her to live longer if they hadn't really written her so badly in season 3, and I would have wanted her to live longer because of my respect for Laurie Holden and how I feel bad for her, and I would have liked for her to have been given another chance to actually be this character in the way that she's supposed to be this character, not in the way the character was written in season 3. So, should Andrea have lived longer? Yeah, but it would have been better if she wasn't badly written in season 3. I really feel like that played a big part in the fans just accepting the fact that she was dead. I think they were so infuriated with her writing, but that by the end of season 3, it was almost a relief for it to just be over, and like really, really over, because she was dead. But it was a shame, and it was a shame that such a big character like her was written the way she was written in season 3, just out of nowhere, completely ass backwards. And it really was a shame, and I hope that everyone understands it was not Laurie's fault. She did a good job as Andrea. She was a good pick as an actress for Andrea. It's just you can only write a character so badly before bad shit happens, and bad shit happened. But yeah, she should have lived longer. The actress deserved better. She should not have been killed off, and she should not have been badly written. At least that badly written. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't be shy. Hit that like and subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. I make 1 to 2 Walking Dead videos per day, so please hit that subscribe button. Anyway, with all that said, I am Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye.